For the few of you who watched my previous video, you saw a quick glimpse of what I hope will be included in Season 9 of The Flash. It was confirmed by a source I was too lazy to look up that Rick Cosnet was asked to return to Season 9, but his character has been dead since Season 1. With the last season presumably consisting of 3 villain arcs, the first being Killer Frost and the third being a short and suspenseful run-in with the Reverse Flash, I have a plan for what I want the last 2 arcs of the season to be. Episodes 6 through 10 of the season I want to be a reunion between Team Flash and Eddie Thawne, now known as the speedster Cobalt Blue. Through an explanation/origin story, it is explained that the singularity that Eddie's body wound up in sent him to the future where an evil scientist took his corpse and resurrected him with an experimental Speed Force machine. This machine gives Eddie a connection to the negative Speed Force and the fuel he needs to enhance his rage and become a vengeful killer, sworn to help the scientist ruin Barry Allen's life. The scientist that finds Eddie's body is none other than his great-great-great-great-grandson, Eobard Thawne. The final arc of The Flash will be a 3-episode arc with a 2-part finale called Speed Crisis. This will be the finale that brings the series full circle, bringing Barry to the past to save himself from Eobard Thawne and become the lightning that gives him his powers. I wrote summaries for episodes 9 and 13 of Season 9, so here is a full explanation. Episode 9 will be a flashback and flash forwards, kind of, explaining Eddie Thawne's origins to becoming Cobalt Blue. This will be around the time that the team finds out about him being a speedster and his full intentions. The episode is called Flash to the Future. The episode opens with a black screen and a loud gunshot. Eddie Thawne has just killed himself, and Team Flash panics as Eobard Thawne fades away and the singularity grows bigger. As Eddie's body is absorbed into the black hole, he is transported to the late 22nd century, where his great-great-great-great-grandson Eobard Thawne is building his biometric lightning oscillation chamber. While Thawne works, the news on his TV reports a singularity that formed above Central City and spat out a mystery man. Thawne, with his speed, swipes up the body and brings it to his lab. After running a quick, futuristic DNA test, he realizes he is his ancestor from the past and a close friend of Barry Allen. He takes the opportunity to ramp up the abilities of his block machine and resurrects Eddie. He connects him to the negative Speed Force, which allows him to heal from his wounds and eventually recover from a coma. When Eddie wakes up, he is all disoriented and confused, wondering who he is and who Thawne is, since last time he saw him, he was posing as Harrison Wells. Thawne explains with mostly honesty that Eddie is from the past and he is his grandson, though he lies and claims that his name is Malcolm, a nod to Malcolm Thawne, who is the Cobalt Blue in the comics. They become somewhat like a family, Eddie hanging out around his lab until he accidentally discovers his negative Speed Force powers and it starts to take control over him. This is the opportunity when Thawne decides he can reveal who he is to Eddie. He reveals himself as Reverse Flash Eobard Thawne, which prompts Eddie to attack him. He is easily subdued by Eobard as he tries to explain his intentions in giving him speed. Eobard explains that he wants to use Eddie's knowledge of the past to help fix his mistakes and finally get rid of Barry Allen. Eddie decides to help Thawne and tells him all about how he failed to kill Barry as a child, which resulted in him killing Nora Allen instead. He continues to go on about how doing so trapped Thawne in the past, so he decides the best way to finally destroy Barry Allen is to ensure he succeeds in killing his younger self. Before doing so, Thawne wants to make sure Team Flash is as broken and distracted as possible to avoid them trying to stop him. This results in Thawne gifting Eddie a Cobalt Blue suit and sending him to 2023 to gather information about Thawne's failures and get close enough to Team Flash to disassemble them from the inside out. This Flash Forwards episode ends with Thawne running to the present and greeting Iris West Allen. I have a few brief explanations for episodes between 9 and 13, just so that you have some context for things that happen in those episodes. So, episode 10, Eddie is defeated and killed, but right before he dies, he whispers to Iris about Thawne's plan to kill Barry as a child. Iris decides to keep this a secret in hopes that this is just the current Thawne destined to fail again. Episode 12 is called Speed Crisis Part 1. The younger Thawne shows up to the present and reveals himself to Team Flash, creating an army of time remnants to destroy the city. At the end of the episode, Iris reveals to Barry what Eddie said when he died, and they decide that it can't be a coincidence. They go to the Time Vault to consult with Gideon, which causes an old news article to pop up one last time and reveal that the crisis that Gideon has been telling them about for years was actually a speed crisis. Episode 13, Speed Crisis Part 2. The episode opens where the previous episode left off, Barry and Iris in the Time Vault jaw-dropping at the news article they've been looking at for years. The article listed that day as the new crisis where Barry Allen is destined to disappear for good. This crisis, rather than red skies, has a picture of hundreds of Thawne time remnants roaming the streets. Suddenly, Chester over the intercom system in Star Labs calls Barry and Iris to the Cortex, where he shows them security camera footage of a Thawne army destroying the city. Barry realizes this is it and reveals to everyone, including the returned Cisco, Wally, Jay, Nora, and Bart, that he has to die in Crisis. Cisco makes a snarky remark about how they already crossed that road, but Barry uses a portable Gideon to show them the updated article with today's date. He gives a sad goodbye to everyone before taking off the flash ring and handing it to Wally. Right before leaving, he hugs his family and apologizes to Bart and Nora. They tell him it's okay and he grabs his Season 2 suit and runs off. While Team Flash all fight together in the present under the leadership of the new Flash, Wally West, Barry runs to the future to confront Thawne right before he is to leave to kill Barry's younger self. Barry tries to talk him out of it, but it fails and starts a race through time. As Barry chases the Reverse Flash through many different time periods, in the Speed Force he sees glimpses of past events throughout the entire Arrowverse as a mini trip down memory lane. Eventually, they finally end up in Barry's childhood home, where Thawne attempts to kill Barry's younger self. The present Barry runs his kid self out of there, but in the new timeline, Thawne follows and keeps on his pursuit instead of killing Nora Allen. As a result of not killing Nora or Barry, Thawne starts to slow down and eventually is erased from existence for good. Consequently, in the present, all the Thawne time remnants around Central City also fade away. Barry smiles with his younger self, thinking he is finally safe and he won't need to disappear in this crisis, until he starts to also fade from existence. He realizes that without Thawne in his life, he never becomes the Flash in the first place, so he tells his younger self to be safe and runs to 2013. As he runs through the Speed Force, he goes faster and faster until he becomes pure Speed Force energy and shoots out of the sky as the lightning bolt that gave him his powers. In the present, Bart and Nora say goodbye to their mom and fade away. Right as this happens, Dion shows up and creates a still force aura around all of Central City. He explains that to stop Thawne, Barry created a new timeline, and Dion is trying to combine the best parts of both into a new reality. As the still force aura shrinks to just around the team, Nora, Bart, and Barry's mom all appear. Nora and Bart hug their mom, and Nora Allen looks surprised, staring at Joan and Jay. Iris walks up to Nora and says, "He did it. He saved you," as she hugs her. At Barry's funeral, his mom gives the eulogy and explains that after being caught up on everything, she is thankful that her son spent the last 8 years dedicating his life to running for her, and eventually saving her. She is thankful that her husband was cleared by their son, and that her family grew strong in the event of her passing. She wishes her son good luck in the afterlife as the show ends. If you guys would enjoy this closing to the series, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so we can get this noticed. I want to see commentators talking about this because I am honestly proud of this, and I might script the entire season by myself if this video gets enough attention. I know it's not going to get put on the CW, obviously, but I want to give readers something to read, because in the event that the CW fails to write something we enjoy, I want to be able to make that story that makes people satisfied with how the show ended. So that's all for me. Thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next one. Almost forgot to mention, I have a few other channels that I put a lot of effort into making videos for. Costina, Shay Studios, Shay and Kane, all of those, along with this, is what I dedicate my time to outside of school, and I would appreciate it so very much if you guys would take a look at it. I also have a Twitch where I stream gaming occasionally, and I also stream gaming on my gaming channel, Costina. So if you guys are interested in any of that, along with the stuff that I make on here, make sure to check them out, and yeah, goodbye for real this time.